A like and a comment go a long way in supporting news stories. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thank you. She looked me right in the eye and said it. Calm. Like it was the most reasonable thing in the world. You work better when you're motivated. That's just how it is. I stood there in the middle of the living room, still wearing my shop apron, my hands rough with sawdust, and I didn't say anything at first. Just let the silence do the talking. Because honestly, I didn't even feel anger in that moment. I felt small, like I wasn't her husband anymore, like I was some kind of vending machine. Put in the chore, get out the reward. She stood there, waiting for me to react, probably expecting a shrug or some awkward joke to lighten the mood. But I didn't. I looked at her like I was seeing a stranger, and I think that's the first time it hit her. Really hit her. Anyway, let me tell you how the hell we got there. My name's Roy. I'm a carpenter. Been working with wood since I was a kid. My dad had a small workshop out back behind our old house. It wasn't much. Just a creaky shed that leaned a little too far to the left and smelled like pine shavings and burnt coffee. But it was quiet. It made sense. He used to say, wood's honest. It'll tell you if you're wrong, and it'll reward you if you respect it. I guess I carried that into everything I do. I never cared much for talking. Not more than needed. I like plans, tools, and getting my hands dirty. Early mornings, hot thermos, cold garage. That's my rhythm. Clients bring me busted cabinets, rotten decks, half-finished ideas, and I bring it back to life. That's what I do. Fix things. Build things. I met Natalie on a Thursday. I remember because it was raining, and I was soaked through by the time I got to her place. She just bought a fixer-upper to rent out. The kind of house that looked solid from the outside, but had termite whispers and creaky bones. I was there to fix a collapsing staircase. She opened the door barefoot, in dress pants and a half-button blouse, juggling a laptop, a coffee cup, and a Bluetooth headset. She looked like she belonged on a trading floor, not in a dusty living room with me. I figured she was a realtor or someone checking in for the owner. But no, she was the owner. She barely looked at me when I came in, pointed toward the staircase, mumbled something about, watch your step, and disappeared back into a room filled with Zoom voices. 15 minutes later, I was mid-demo when she peeked out and said, that's beautiful work. I looked up, probably confused. Nobody says that about demo work. She nodded toward how I'd braced the frame. It's neat. Clean. Just plumb and level, I said. Still, most guys leave a mess. That was the first time she really looked at me. We didn't exchange numbers that day. She paid me cash in an envelope with a post-it that said, thanks, Roy. Seriously. A week later, she texted me. Not for work. Just coffee. She was fast. Fast talking, fast walking, fast thinking. Natalie didn't linger on anything. She scheduled our first 3 dates through Google Calendar and rescheduled 2 of them. But she showed up. Always clean, sharp, confident. I was the opposite. I liked slow mornings, cheap diners, backyard chairs. Somehow it worked. She said I made her feel centered. I told her she made me feel like my phone should always be charged. We fit. In a weird way. And when we didn't, we laughed about it. 6 months in, we moved in together. Her place. Closer to the city. Nicer kitchen. Less yard. The house had good bones, but like most things she owned, it needed some softness. I refinished the cabinets, built her a custom pantry. She bought plants she'd forget to water, and I'd quietly keep them alive. She'd send me Pinterest boards for shelving ideas. I'd sketch them out and build what she actually needed, not what the photo showed. At night, we'd sit on the porch. She'd drink wine, I'd sip beer, and we'd argue about flooring finishes or cabinet hardware like it was life and death. I want matte black, she said once. It shows fingerprints, I replied. She grinned. That's what cleaning spray is for. I rolled my eyes and went with brushed nickel. We made it work. The first year was smooth. She'd be up at 6. Already in work mode, 2 coffees brewing. One for her, one for me. I'd stumble in, take my cup, kiss the top of her head, and grunt something close to morning. She worked from the dining table with 3 screens. I worked from the garage with sawdust and country radio. We'd meet for lunch, quick bites and jokes, then back to it. In the evenings, we cooked together or ordered in, depending on who was more tired. Weekends were a mix of errands, brunches with her friends, or drive-outs to the cabin I'd been slowly building on a plot outside town. The cabin wasn't finished. Not even close. Just a frame, really. But it was mine. My someday. She said she liked it out there. Said it was peaceful. Sometimes she'd bring a book and sit on the tailgate while I hammered planks and cursed splinters. She called it our project. That meant something. Our rhythms weren't always synced, but we never tripped over each other. She respected my quiet. I respected her hustle. Her world was full of emails, deadlines, calls. Mine was full of grain, measurements, nails. We were opposites, sure, but not enemies. I liked watching her work. She'd pace around with that same coffee mug every morning, mumbling numbers to herself, adjusting her schedule mid-sentence. And I liked coming in after a long day, smelling like lacquer and pine, finding her curled on the couch in socks and a messy bun. She'd pull her legs up and say, "Sit. You look like you got into a fight with a tree." "I did," I'd mutter. And the tree won. We had dumb little routines. Sunday night tacos, her playlist in the car, my boots by the door. Nothing glamorous. Just lived in. And maybe that's what made what came after hurt more. It didn't start with yelling. It never does. We didn't wake up one day hating each other. There wasn't a single event. No betrayal. No accident. Just small shifts. I remember one day I came home from a long job. Porch rebuild. Lots of concrete dust. My back was killing me. She was in bed, watching some crime show on her tablet. I kissed her hair and asked, "You up for some time together?" She paused the video, looked at me and said, "Did you fix the dishwasher leak?" I blinked. "No, I forgot. I'll get to it tomorrow." She shrugged. "Then not really in the mood, babe." And hit play. I stood there for a second. Thought she was kidding. But she wasn't. She turned away. Earbuds in. That was that. I fixed the leak the next morning. 2 days later, she was all over me. Coincidence? At first, I thought so. But it happened again. And again. And I'll be honest. I played along. For a while. Thought maybe it was a phase, a quirky new rhythm. I've been around enough relationships to know people have weird ways of expressing things. But this felt different. Felt like performance-based affection. And it didn't sit right. That's how it started. Quiet. So quiet, I almost missed it. First sign of things shifting came quiet. One night, I came in late from a porch job. Back aching, hands raw from the damn concrete dust. She was watching some show on her tablet in bed. I leaned over, kissed her head, and asked, "You up for some time together?" She looked at me, paused the video, and said, "Did you fix the dishwasher leak?" I blinked. "No, I forgot. I'll get to it in the morning." She shrugged. "Then not really in the mood, babe." And just hit play again. I laughed. Thought she was messing with me. But then she turned away, earbuds in. Next day, I fixed the leak. 2 days later, she initiated intimacy. Coincidence? Maybe. But it happened again the next week. "Roy, if you take the car in for service, I'll make it worth your while tonight," she said one Saturday morning, tossing me the keys and smiling like she was joking. But she wasn't. I saw it in her eyes. That weird transactional tone. At first, I played along. I thought it was some weird kink or phase. A playful thing. Hell, I've done stranger for the sake of keeping peace. We're men. We eat what's on the plate, right? But after a while, it became a pattern. She started leaving sticky notes. Fixed shelf cuddles. Yard trimmed, date night. New curtains? You know what that means. The notes looked cute. But they didn't feel cute. They felt like scorecards. Like I was earning points toward basic affection. I tried brushing it off. Told myself maybe she's just organizing things her way. But deep down, something wasn't sitting right. It's one thing to show appreciation. It's another thing to dangle affection like a dog treat. I remember telling my buddy Luke about it while working on his deck. He laughed at first. "Man, you're getting incentivized. Sounds like a win." I didn't laugh back. He caught the tone and asked, "You good?" I nodded, but I wasn't. Natalie wasn't cruel. She didn't yell. She didn't cheat or disappear or hit below the belt. But there was this slow erosion happening. Like salt on metal. Quiet. Constant. And then there was the comment from her mom. One evening, she came over for dinner. I was setting the table. Natalie was upstairs still finishing work calls. Her mom sat at the kitchen island, sipping wine, watching me move around the kitchen. "You do a lot around here," she said. I chuckled. "Part of the gig." She tilted her head. "No, I mean more than most. Doesn't it wear on you?" I shrugged. "I don't mind helping out." She stared at me for a beat. "Helping out? Roy, you're running this house." That stuck. Not because I needed a pat on the back, but because it felt like the first time someone noticed I wasn't just doing chores. I was carrying the damn thing. Still, I didn't confront Natalie. I'm not that kind of guy. I stew. I wait. I keep sanding the same damn board until it's smooth enough to stop thinking about the rest. But it didn't stop. One Tuesday night, I walked in with groceries. She was on the couch, laptop open, feet up. "I thought you were going to power wash the deck today," she said without looking up. "Had 2 jobs run late. I'll get to it tomorrow." She clicked her tongue. Then I guess tomorrow's the only night you're getting anything." I dropped the bag harder than I meant to. She flinched. "You keeping a ledger somewhere?" I asked. She looked up, frowning. "What's that supposed to mean?" I looked at her. "It means I'm starting to feel like I need to clock in and out of this marriage just to get a damn kiss." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on, Roy. Don't be dramatic. I'm just trying to keep things balanced. You respond better when there's motivation. That's just how it is." And that right there, that's where I started this story. I stood there, looking at her. Not yelling. Not crying. Just realizing something had broken. Want to know the worst part? She didn't even see it happen. After that night, something just shifted. Not out loud. Not with slamming doors or dramatic exits. Just a quiet snap inside my chest. You ever have one of those moments where you realize you've been trying way harder than the other person even notices? That was me, standing there in that living room with my jaw clenched and my hands full of calluses, thinking, why the hell am I still playing this game? Next morning, I didn't say anything. She made her coffee, sat at her laptop, and started clicking away like nothing happened. I just nodded, grabbed my thermos, and walked out to the truck. That day, I didn't go straight to the job site. I drove out to the edge of town, where that half-finished cabin still stood on my little plot. The place I started building years ago, before Natalie. I used to call it my someday house. Hadn't been out there in months. The grass was tall, the beams still strong, just missing walls and plumbing and life. I sat on the tailgate, stared at it for maybe an hour. Thought about all the plans I'd drawn up. Thought about what it might feel like to have a space that was mine again. Back home, I started pulling away in small ways. I didn't stop helping. I still did the repairs. Still fixed the bathroom light. Still picked up groceries when they ran low. But I didn't do it for her anymore. I did it for the house, for myself. And I didn't wait for rewards. She noticed. First it was comments. You're quiet lately. Then it was sarcasm. Oh, you fixed the sink. No sticker chart today. Then it was silence. But the real tension came the night she handed me a literal list. A paper list. She put it on the kitchen counter like it was a grocery run. 10 items. Paint the fence. Clean out the gutters. Move the boxes from the attic. Each task had a little star next to it, like some kind of performance tracker. I picked it up, read it twice, folded it in half, and asked her, you got this off Pinterest or something? She frowned. No, it's just stuff we need to take care of. I figured it's easier if we both know the plan. Right? I said, tapping the folded paper against my palm. And what happens when I check all the boxes? You gonna cook dinner in lingerie or hand out tokens for hugs? Roy, she started, already defensive. Natalie, I cut in. You think I need a gold star to be a husband? She crossed her arms. No, but maybe if you'd done these things without being reminded. Reminded? You want a reminder? I tossed the list back on the counter. Remind me again what the hell I married. 'Cause I don't remember signing up for merit-based affection. Her voice rose. That's not fair. I laughed once, short and bitter. Yeah? Neither is earning a kiss like I'm punching a damn time card. We didn't talk the rest of the night. She went upstairs. I stayed downstairs, drank a beer in the garage, sat on the workbench, and stared at a broken chair I wasn't fixing for anyone anymore. That chair saw more honest hours from me than she had lately. The weird part? We didn't fight after that. Not really. Just nothing. Dead air. We'd pass each other in the hallway and say nothing. Share a meal in silence. Sleep on opposite edges of the same bed like strangers who accidentally double-booked the room. I started staying out later. Grabbed dinner at the diner near the shop more often than not. Spoke to clients longer than needed just to avoid going home. I'd park a block away and sit in the truck for 10, 15 minutes, just breathing, just not going in. One night, I sat there long enough for a neighbor to knock on my window and ask if everything was okay. I smiled, lied, said I was listening to the game. You ever sit in your own driveway and feel like a trespasser? That's when I knew. I talked to my buddy Cole that week. Old friend, runs a roofing crew. We met up at his shop, split a pizza and a six-pack after hours. He asked what was up, and I didn't sugarcoat it. Tried everything, I told him. Fix the house, fix the cars, fix her day. Nothing ever fixes the marriage. He chewed his crust, nodded slow. You still love her? I did, I said. I don't know what this is now. He paused, then looked me in the eye. You ever think about finishing that cabin? That hit harder than I expected. I told him about it years ago, when I first started dating Natalie. Told him I was putting it on hold. Every damn week lately, I muttered. Well, he said, tipping his bottle toward me. Maybe it's time to start again. A few nights later, Natalie approached me. It had been 2 weeks of near total silence, save for grocery lists and calendar updates. She sat across from me at the dining table. No laptop. No phone. I think we need to talk, she said. I put down my fork. All right. I've been thinking a lot about what you said. About the list. The reward thing. I waited. She fidgeted. That wasn't like her. She always had control. But now she looked unsure. I thought I was helping. Making things easier. Structured. Motivating. I didn't realize how demeaning it must have felt. Still, I waited. Then, her voice cracked. I'm sorry, Roy. Really. I thought I was being clever, not cruel. I didn't mean to turn love into a chore list. It wasn't some grand apology. No tears, no theatrics. But her eyes looked real. Her voice was small. For the first time in months, she looked like the woman I met. Not the planner. Not the manager. Just her. I let the silence sit for a beat. Then I said, I don't know if I can forget it all, but I'm willing to try. If you are. She nodded, and for once, didn't try to schedule it. That was the start of the reset. We didn't jump into it all at once. No big speeches. No, back to normal overnight. We went slow, talked more, laughed here and there, made dinner together once a week without a list. I started leaving the workshop early on purpose. She stopped motivating. We went out to eat on Friday. A real date. I wore a button-down. She wore earrings I hadn't seen in months. We even held hands walking to the truck. I won't lie. Part of me kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. For her to slip back into that rhythm of hers, treating everything like a transaction. But it didn't happen. Not for weeks. Maybe it wouldn't at all. Still, I didn't forget what almost happened. How close we came to becoming roommates who high-fived after chores and nothing more. I kept thinking about that cabin. I drove out there more often now. Brought scrap wood, a toolbox, and silence. Just to remember who I was before checklists and star charts. Not because I was planning to leave, but because I wanted to know I still could. Somewhere around week 4, I noticed she'd stopped leaving notes. There weren't any to-do stickers on the fridge, no passive-aggressive whiteboard reminders. The little systems she used to swear by, all gone. And the strangest part? I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt tired. Like I'd been walking uphill in work boots for months and finally sat down. But she was trying. I saw it. She started bringing home dinner without asking what I'd done that day. We'd watch a movie without her checking off some internal checklist first. She even left a bouquet of sunflowers on my workbench with a note that just said, "Thank you." No chore attached. No reward implied. I didn't know what to do with it. It's weird when someone stops treating you like a project. You think you'll feel free. But mostly, you feel like you don't know where to stand anymore. We were better. But we weren't fixed. Not yet. One night, she came into the garage while I was sanding down an old maple table for a client. She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, wearing that ratty college hoodie she used to sleep in when things were good. "You ever think about finishing the cabin?" she asked. I paused mid-sand. Looked up. "Why?" "I don't know. You always seemed different after you came back from there. Lighter." I nodded. "It's quiet. Nobody handing out scorecards." She winced. "I deserve that." I didn't say anything. I went back to sanding. She stepped inside, sat on the stool near the shelves, watching the shavings curl off the edge. "I've been thinking about everything," she said. "About how I made us feel like a spreadsheet. About how I confused structure with love. About how long you were probably biting your tongue before you finally said something." She paused. "And I'm sorry. I kept working. Not to ignore her. Just because I needed the rhythm. The noise. Something steady to balance out the mess inside. You're not the only one who felt small in this house," she added, softer. "But at least you knew who you were." I think I forgot. I set the sander down. Looked at her. "You still don't get it," I said. She tilted her head, waiting. It wasn't just the lists. Or the rewards. It was the fact that I stopped being your partner and became your employee. Like the only way I was worth something was if I produced. Like affection was currency. Her eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. She just nodded. "I get it now. Too late, maybe, but I do." We sat in silence for a while. The kind where you don't rush to fill it. Eventually, she stood up, walked over, and placed a hand on my shoulder. "I don't expect you to forget," she said. "But I want you to know I see it now. I see you." And for once, it didn't sound like a slogan. The following weekend, we went out for breakfast. Just us. No errands planned after. No double-booked appointments. She left her phone in her purse the whole time. That might not sound like much, but it was. We talked about normal stuff. Work, neighbors, that weird bird that kept pecking our mailbox. We even laughed. That night, I suggested we take a drive out to the cabin. She hesitated, then smiled. "Yeah, I'd like that." We got there close to sunset. The light hit the frame in a way that made it look almost finished. Even with the weeds and the missing siding, it still stood proud. Still felt like mine. She walked around the edge, touched the beam I'd carved our initials into back when I thought that kind of thing mattered. Then she turned to me and said, "You ever think this could be ours again?" I shrugged. "Maybe." "Would you want that?" she asked. "I don't know," I said honestly. "Depends on who we are when we live in it." She nodded slowly. "I want to be someone you don't have to earn love from." And that was the first time in months I believed her. In the weeks that followed, things slowly changed. Not in fireworks or grand gestures, in the little stuff. She'd come out to the garage just to bring me coffee, sit quietly while I worked. Sometimes she'd ask questions about the tools, about the wood. Not because she needed something, but just to be near. We started walking together in the evenings. No goal, just steps. One Thursday night, we sat on the porch watching the rain, and she said, "You know, I used to think that giving affection based on achievements was my way of keeping things balanced. But it was really just control." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. She leaned her head on my shoulder and whispered, "I'm done with control." And for the first time in a long time, I didn't brace for the next condition. Now here's the thing they don't tell you about trying again. It doesn't feel like starting over. It feels like learning how to live in the same house with a stranger who used to be your everything. There were awkward silences, moments where I'd reach for her and stop myself, moments where she'd flinch, unsure if her gesture would be accepted. But we kept trying, not for a prize, just because we wanted to. I built a new table for the kitchen. She picked out the chairs. We argued over colors, laughed over how dumb we sounded. We weren't healed, but we were human again. And then came the night I told her my terms. We were in bed, lights off, the kind of quiet that's not heavy, just waiting. I said, "If we do this, really do this, I need one thing." She turned toward me. "No more scorekeeping," I said. "Not ever. No tallying who did what. No assigning value to kindness." She nodded. Agreed. "And I need room. For me. For the cabin. For my own time." "Take it," she said. "I want that version of you too." That was all. No ceremony. No contracts. Just two tired people, holding hands in the dark, deciding not to give up. And maybe that's all it really takes. Not flowers or promises or big speeches. Just a quiet, steady choice. One morning at a time. It's been about 8 months since all that. Funny thing is, if you came over now, saw us in the kitchen, laughing over burnt toast or arguing about which trash day is recycling, you'd never know any of it happened. To anyone else, we probably look normal. A couple who figured it out, who works well together. But I remember every damn bit of it. And honestly, I'm glad I do. Because forgetting it would mean forgetting why I stopped bending. I still go out to the cabin. Every couple weekends. Not to escape. Just to work. Sand. Nail. Breathe. Sometimes she joins me. Brings lunch. Helps paint. We don't talk much there, and that's the point. It's quiet. It's simple. No checklists. We sleep better now. Not just in bed, but in each other's presence. That tension, that invisible pressure, it's gone. We don't owe each other moments. We just share them. Still, I keep a mental line in the sand. Not out of fear, out of respect for myself. Because I know now how easy it is to slip into roles. To become the helper, the provider, the fixer, and forget you're a person, not a function. She knows that too. Sometimes I catch her pausing before she says something, like she's filtering it through the old habits. And when that happens, she catches my eye and just exhales. Doesn't say it. Doesn't need to. We both unlearn some things. A few weeks ago, something happened I didn't expect. We ran into her friend Angela at the grocery store. The one who used to joke, half loud, about me being such a handyman. And isn't Natalie lucky to have her own live-in contractor? I always smiled and let it go. But that day, something was different. Angela smiled wide, hugged Natalie, and said, "You two are still together? Wow." Thought for sure he'd have built himself a new home by now. Natalie didn't laugh. She looked her right in the eye and said, "I'm lucky he stayed. And I worked to deserve that now." Angela blinked, probably expecting a witty comeback. She didn't get one. I didn't say a word. Just watched them. For the first time in a long time, I felt proud of her. Not for sticking up for me, but for finally seeing it. We walked out with groceries, and nothing more was said. But I thought about it the whole way home. I won't pretend everything's perfect. We still disagree. Still snap at each other sometimes. Still forget to buy milk or overcook the chicken. But it's different now. The ground we stand on isn't transactional. There's no scoreboard, no prize shelf. Just two people choosing each other, every day, with all the mess and boredom and beauty that comes with it. You know what changed? I did. I stopped waiting for her to change first. I stopped playing the game. I drew the line, and I stood by it. And when I did, she had a choice. Lose me, or meet me there. She showed up. And for now, that's enough. But let me ask you something. Just honestly, man to man, or whoever's listening out there. Do you think I made the right call? Was giving her another chance the right move? Or should I have walked when I still had the edge? When I could have packed my tools, locked the garage, and left without looking back? What would you have done? I'm not fishing for approval, just curious. Drop it in the comments. I read more than you think. Sometimes hearing how someone else sees your story tells you a little more about your own. Thanks for listening.